Welcome to Rock the Word 153, Season 4, Episode 5. Brothers and sisters, this episode arrives on the Friday in Passiontide. Passiontide is sort of like a subset in the season of Lent. It's 2 weeks before Easter, and it's when the entry into the Passion of the Lord really becomes a more intense process in our Lenten journey. So it arrives in Passiontide 1 week before Good Friday, 2 days before Palm Sunday. And so it's appropriate that this episode of Rock the Word focuses on the Passion of Christ. Brothers and sisters, the last 2 episodes, the episodes in March, focused on the war in Ukraine and our intense prayer for the men, women, and children in that country, that our prayers and our humanitarian efforts would be a way to fight this war with love and charity on this side of the Atlantic. And this episode of Rock the Word is a nice way to bring that experience into the experience of the Passion of Christ. And so the song that I chose for this episode of Rock the Word 153 is from 1973, from George Harrison, his beautiful song, Give Me Love, that appeared on his album, Living in the Material World. We all know that George Harrison, God rest him, was a beautiful soul. He was a peaceful person, and I think of all 4 Beatles, well, maybe, I don't know, but of all 4 Beatles, he was a very spiritual person. And we know that oftentimes that spirituality showed itself in things like Hare Krishna. But his beautiful song, My Sweet Lord, for example, is another way of him praying and expressing his love for the Lord. And I think the song Give Me Love is another way that he did that. And I think the song Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth is a beautiful way to bring the suffering of the Ukrainian people together with the Passion of the Lord. And the lyrics of this song are very, very simple, and they repeat often. Give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me light, give me life, keep me free from birth. And that line was always one that mystified me. And so in preparation for Rock the Word, I looked up what the meaning of that word was. And from what I could read, it seemed to me that the whole bent of George Harrison was to be united in heart and spirit with the Lord. And so to keep me free from birth, keep me free from human boundaries, that I might be more spiritually connected to the Lord, is what the sense of that line means. But he continues, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. And when I read the line, help me cope with this heavy load, which, by the way, gets repeated 4 times in the song, I thought, what a beautiful line to express in rock music lyrics that brings to mind for me the Passion of the Christ, the carrying of the cross. Help me cope with this heavy load. So I thought we'd do something different for this episode of Rock the Word. I took the Passion that we will hear on Palm Sunday in 2 days, Luke's Passion. And for each time that the line, help me cope with this heavy load, is repeated, I'm going to focus on a section of the Passion that we'll hear on Palm Sunday. It's Luke's Passion. And so we hear that beautiful line, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load. And so the first part of Luke's passion that I'd like to concentrate on is the agony in the garden. Jesus himself reaching out to the Father to give him hope, to help him cope with the heavy load that was awaiting him. Then going out, he went, as was his custom, to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples followed him. When he arrived at the place, he said to them, "Pray that you may not undergo the test." After withdrawing about a stone's throw from them and kneeling, he prayed, saying, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup away from me. Not my will, but yours be done." Father, if you are willing, take this cup away from me. I think the agony in the garden shows us Jesus in his full humanity. He knew what was being asked of him. And like any human with feelings and with a heart, is there any way, Lord, that you could take this burden away from me? Is there any way, Lord, that you could take this heavy burden, help me cope? And so Jesus in the garden, but still, Father, not my will, but yours. And then this beautiful line, and to strengthen him, an angel from heaven appeared to him. That line struck me like never before. And I wonder if in our deepest, darkest hour, in our agony in the garden, if the Lord hasn't already sent his angel to be before us to help us. The gospel goes on. He was in such agony and he prayed so fervently that his sweat became like drops of blood falling on the ground. When he rose from prayer and returned to his disciples, he found them sleeping from grief. He said to them, "Why are you sleeping? Get up and pray that you may not undergo the test." Brothers and sisters, this excerpt from the Passion, from Luke's Passion, I think is so easily one that you and I can relate to. It's so human of Jesus to have that prayer. Lord, if it may happen, may this cup pass me by, his humanity, but then his divinity. Still, your will, Lord, not mine. Give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. After arresting him, they led him away and took him into the house of the high priest. Peter was following at a distance. They lit a fire in the middle of the courtyard and sat around it, and Peter sat down with them. When a maid saw him seated in the light, she looked intently at him and said, "This man too was with him." But he denied it, saying, "Woman, I do not know him." A short while later, someone else saw him and said, "You too are one with him." But Peter answered, "My friend, I am not." About an hour later, still another insisted, "Assuredly, this man too was with him, for he also is a Galilean." But Peter said, "My friend, I do not know what you are talking about." Just as he was saying this, the cock crowed, and the Lord turned and looked at Peter, and Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said to him, "Before the cock crows today, you will deny me 3 times." He went out and began to weep bitterly. How often, friends, do we weaken under the heavy load that we have to bear? Peter, who became one of the pillars of the church, is shown at his weakest moment. The Lord foretold this, that before the cock crowed 3 times, you will deny me. Peter denies him. He's weak. He goes out and he weeps bitterly. Give me hope, Lord. Help me cope with this heavy load. That's Peter trying to cope with the heavy load of being a disciple of Jesus, the cost of discipleship. He goes and weeps bitterly. We know that Judas, when he got in touch with his own betrayal, took his own life. There are ways, brothers and sisters, for us to cope with our own weakness. First and foremost, to acknowledge our guilt before the Lord, but then to ask for forgiveness, right? Give me hope. Help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. As they led him away, they took hold of a certain Simon, a Cyrenian, who was coming in from the country, and after laying the cross on him, they made him carry it behind Jesus. Give me hope, right? The Lord sends Jesus an angel to help him in his agony in the garden. The Lord sends to Jesus Simon the Cyrenian to help him carry his cross. Who are those angels? The angels from the Lord in metaphysical form, and the angels of the Lord that are given to us in human form, that help us carry our cross. I think it's so appropriate for us to think about that as we enter the passion of the Lord. So, asking for help and asking for forgiveness. Give me hope. Help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. Now one of the criminals hanging there reviled Jesus, saying, "Are you not the Christ? Save us and save yourself." The other, however, rebuking him, said in reply, "Have you no fear of God? For you are subject to the same condemnation. And indeed, we have been condemned justly, for the sentence we received corresponds to our crimes. But this man has done nothing criminal." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He replied to him, "Amen, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. These criminals on either side of Jesus knew that they were criminals, but they also knew that Jesus was not. They acknowledged Jesus the Christ, and he says to them, "Today you will be with me in paradise." Brothers and sisters, I think this time of Lent, especially this time of Passiontide, as we enter Holy Week with Palm Sunday, to acknowledge our sinfulness before God, not to live in shame and guilt, but to acknowledge our sinfulness before God, to acknowledge him as the Christ. If we need hope, if we need help, there could be no better way to start that, to initiate that help and that hope, than by acknowledging our sinfulness and asking God for help. He will say the same thing to me and you that he said to those two criminals. Today you will be with me in paradise. But there's another part of this song, and I'd like to end my reflection for this episode of Rock the Word with the other lyric of the song that is repeated over and over again. Give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me light, give me life, hoping to touch and reach you with heart and soul. Hoping to touch and reach you with heart and soul. Give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me light, give me life. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. because of an eclipse of the sun. Then the veil of the temple was torn down the middle. Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." And when he had said this, he breathed his last. There is no greater act of love in human history or otherwise than what we read at the end of Luke's Gospel. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. When Jesus gave himself over so that sin and death would no longer be the end of our story, when he died for me and you, no greater act of love. So when we pray, give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me light, give me life, hoping to touch and reach you with heart and soul. May we remember how deeply and infinitely we are loved by God, that he gave us his only Son, and that his Son died on the cross. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. And when he breathed his last, his great act of love for us was visible on earth and touches our heart and soul today, this Holy Week. As we continue down our Lenten journey in this Passion Tide, let us not forget the people of Ukraine. Let us try to remember that if we join our sufferings to the sufferings of Jesus, then our suffering is not in vain. That perhaps through our suffering, the door to compassion is open, and you and I are able to touch the wounds, not only of Christ, hoping to touch and reach you with heart and soul, not only the wounds of Christ, but the wounds of our brothers and sisters. I pray that these holy days are special, that we reach the Lord, that we share in his passion, and that we experience the gift of his love. May we be compassion to one another. May we be the light and life that Jesus gives to us. May we reflect that to our brothers and sisters. Happy Holy Week. Holy, Holy Week. God bless you. Send in my love.
On earth, give me light, give me life.